Hey, nice to meet you. The name's Max. Maxwell Smalls.
Bro, you're still here? Can the wolf spider eat this motherfucker up? Like, come on, please. I feel like that's the pecking order.
Let's see what's around here.
Fish, don't stop fucking. The fuck? fucking annoying, aren't you? Okay, so here's what needs to be done. Oh shit. Put my amethyst slippers on so I can do this quickly.
You can be smart, fast, lucky, or just wear some armor. Bro. I need to find like a good way to come up here. That's gonna piss me off. Like, I need to figure out a better way when I'm walking up this way. Left side. I'm not picky.
A bunch of amphids and shit over here now too. Shit. Might be easy to do it. Just have to kill all these fucking wolf spiders every 5 seconds.
Having a little peep. Hey there, buddy. Tastes good.
I could have just been doing this, babe.
Yeah!
Could have did this and then ran over. I'm just dumb. I'm just dumb. Okay.
It's no lemon crime, but it's better than nothing. Oh, I'm stuck! Damn! Give me a plate of this.
Oh shit. Don't you dare jump after me. Wolf Spider, I'll fuck your ass up.
I'm feeling sick.
Raggedy bitch.
That was refreshing.
What was I leaving with? Oh, I don't know if I was leaving with anything. Buff lungs on. Or we were just walking around like you own the place, you fucking bitch. Let's see. Like, am I missing something? I need a lot more wood. What's the car? Wooden clovers. Fight down the well, fight down. Let's see.
I concur. I could devour a Billy Hog right about now.
Cat, give me like 10-15 minutes at the game, so hold on. Let's take care of something right quick.
App is easy. First, make design. Then go to stickerup.com. Take a mouse and click Make Custom Stickers. Drop design. Improve your cut line. Choose nice material, many fancy stuff. Look, it's rainbow. Select quantities and size. For special effect, type in the comment field and StickerUp people will make it for you. Add to cart. Wait for stickers to arrive. Enjoy stickers.
I have a shotgun pistol. This shit's crap.
This is the first time Dizzy played Apex.
AR ammo?
Oh yeah, it's sucking me. Pause.
I'm trying to put something here, right? Ooh.
Can I ask you a question though, or ask the group a question? There's more world leaders who are male, and typically I think
Good,
leadership...
that's a good thing. Women should not be in positions of extreme leadership like presidents, et cetera, because we're too emotional.
I'm feeling a lot of emotion right now.
If you agree, step forward. Women have more privileges today than men.
I went back and forth on this one, thinking about the difference between more and different. I think women have distinctly different privileges than men have, but with this new feminist movement that is arising, more of the third, fourth wave, we are finding, I think, that women are placed and pedestalized above men in a lot of ways. There's affirmative action hiring and scholarships where women, sometimes even regardless of academic standing or achievement, are prioritized above men. But men also have different privileges that they get to access. I struggle to say more, but I think I do agree with the feminist movement now there is more.
If you are born into this life with a vagina, you inherently have 10 times more privilege than a man. From the time they are little, girls are always like doted on and you're so pretty and cute.
Very coddled.
They're coddled,
Yeah.
right? As they should be, you know?
Yeah.
We want that feminine, nurturing energy in them. You can kind of be a degenerate woman and have a hot body and be a millionaire on OnlyFans. Men don't have that privilege. Now, women don't have to like work to get a guy. They're just hot. And then guys come to them and spend their resources on them. A man has to prove himself. He has to build a body. He has to make money. He has to build influence. He has to become a protector, a provider. Women just have that naturally by just having a vagina, as I said.
That's why it's frustrating, because the feminist movement has been all about women acting like they don't have rights and acting like they have it pretty hard in the modern day world. I can't think of a single thing that I don't have that a guy has, or
that they only have. I would say the one thing I would say is the safety thing. That's the only thing that I would say, is that women are disadvantaged from, by nature, women are not as physically strong. I mean, you're physically strong, but as physically strong.
I'll take it.
It's great biceps. And men just are. And if you're walking down a dark alley as a woman, you're going to feel some type of way sometimes, right?
That's why we need guns.
Well, there you go.
I'm going to talk a little bit more about like the judicial system. When it comes to, let's say, domestic dispute, if a woman calls the police, they automatically show up, arrest the man. The Duluth model, I think is how you pronounced it. And that's already in place. It's not necessarily like a right or anything, but it's certainly in all of the police departments. Is if feminism is all about equality, why would you automatically arrest a man? When they arrest him, his name is in the newspaper automatically. The fact that a woman can say Jane Doe and she doesn't have to put her name out there, what skin in the game is there?
And there's so many instances of that. I know men personally who have had domestic violence within the relationship with children involved, unfortunately. And the woman attacked the man in front of the child, and he's still, I know 2 instances personally, and he's still fighting to get the child back. That's from the Me Too movement. Congratulations. You guys got that.
It kind of invalidates the women who do come forward and who have faced rape and sexual assault and all of that, because then it kind of turned into a Twitter hashtag.
That's correct.
Where women were like, oh, you know what, I'm going to join, like, this seems fun. Like,
for clout,
it's not
for
fun.
clout.
I think it's a mixed bag. I don't think the Me Too movement was inherently harmful. It's the Me Too movement when you couple it with something like believe all women. That's when it becomes
and the victimization of women who aren't really victims.
The prompt is, do women have more privileges? We have privileges simply by virtue of being women. We have privileges with affirmative action. We have privileges in family court, and we have privileges as far as being believed and forgiven. It's that's something that should be acknowledged.
That's correct.
Can I have the disagreeer step forward?
I appreciated the distinction of more versus different privileges. You can't just use a broad brush and paint the entire debate and say, all right, well, this is men have more than women, that's it. Like, women that must inherently then have no privileges. That's not how it works. And that's where we start to get into the idea of like intersectionality, where another woman who had a different experience, if it was a trans woman, if it was a woman of color, if it was a woman who was...
But I don't think we're including trans women into feminism.
And I think we definitely should.
I don't think we should at
all.
I think that trans women should not be a part of the feminist movement, because a man, just because they, wake up and feel like they can be a woman one day, could come in and then suddenly know what it's like to have a period or know what it's like to have a child. It's anything from men replacing women in sports to men replacing women on podcasts during Women's Month and when we're talking about women's health, or you've even got biological men who think they're women going to the White House speaking on behalf of all women.
I do have a question for you based on the prompt, though, because you've lived in both experiences, at least socially. I'm curious, when you transitioned to male and people started perceiving you as male, like most people did today, what privileges changed for you, or what did you see enter your life that you didn't have before?
Yeah, and that's sort of where a lot of my beliefs in feminism do lie, is because being out into the world as a gay woman was the way I was seen. Men treated me definitely not nearly as well as they did. I was bullied in school. I had people call me slurs, and it seemed like it was because I was threatening to like the male structure that we are in, where it's like male and female. Because I was a female who liked females, I was somehow infringing on that, and so they didn't like me. Things change naturally when you socially transition and are perceived by the world in a different way. When I transitioned from being perceived as female to the world to just pretty much passing or blending full-time as male, was that I got a lot more respect from other men. People listened to me and took me seriously. In a social passing setting, people aren't going to harass women who are around me if I'm walking with them at night. which is just a benefit I never thought about.
With caveat, actually, so I say that yes, there are some privileges that women have that men don't, but also there's privileges that men have that women don't. I don't think women are more privileged in our society because I could get a woman pregnant and I could just run away.
They could get you
Well,
for
they can
child
get you for
support.
child support, which they
But
do.
are you saying she can't run away?
Go to jail.
Are you saying you
They
can't?
could
She
take
can't
your
run away
money.
from the pregnancy?
But you could actually physically leave. I know what you're saying.
At the end of the day, like I don't see women having more privileges than men because we don't have the same. There's no way to objectively measure it.
Well, and in the scenario that you pointed out, I mean, if a woman was pregnant, she wouldn't be able to get an abortion in most
In some
parts
states,
of the country.
yes. In some states,
That's a major disadvantage.
Yeah. You can't get an abortion, but children can go get a gender change at 12 with a
Feels
parent
like you're
at
very
15
fixated on that.
without consent.
That's not true.
It feels like you're very fixated on that.
I know the laws as well.
I went through this.
I know, in some states you can, and in Thailand you can go at 16 and get your everything cut off.
Guys, it's less than 5%.
I know.
It
Such a
doesn't
small.
matter.
It's such a small
It doesn't
subset
matter.
of the
But
population.
you can't say that about it. Does matter though. When you have a child, you're not a
That's
parent
between
yet.
the parent and the child.
Can I ask you a question though, or ask the group a question? There's more world leaders who are male, and typically I think
Good,
leadership.
that's a good thing.
I know it's
Well, he
weird
was
coming
talking
from
to
me,
me.
but I do want to know. It doesn't bum you out that it's less likely for a woman to become president?
I don't feel bummed out because I know that if I want to pursue something that I want to do, I have every capability to do it in this country.
I don't feel bummed out. Women should not be in positions of extreme leadership like presidents, et cetera, because we're too emotional.
I'm feeling a lot of
too.
emotions
Men
right
can be
now.
impulsive.
I'm not saying that men can't be emotional.
Like we had a
Men are
president.
more
We had a president
logical.
who would literally just
And now
go
we
on
have a
Twitter
president
every
whose brain
day,
doesn't
every
work.
second.
Wait, one person so she can hear it.
To be logical and to be sound is not something defined by gender. It's just something defined by your own psychology.
The left and right brain, it
That's just
actually
false.
is though.
That's
That's
just
not
false.
false. It's not
Come on,
false.
Matt.
It
Come
is
on.
not
Really?
false.
Really?
No, your question about leadership, I think, is a very poignant question because a lot of people are asking that. Why don't we see more female presidents? Why don't we see more female CEOs or Fortune 500 companies? And again, it goes back to those gender differences. There will be women who will be exceptions to the generalized rule of what it means to be feminine, and those women you will see succeed in extreme leadership. But we should also discuss what the conditions of extreme leadership are. We're talking 80-hour work weeks, subscribing yourself to your career and nothing else.
Forgoing family
and
and children.
Psychologically and biologically, women tend to lean in the direction of not making those choices for themselves, while men are highly competitive, they are highly analytical, systematic, they're willing to put in that time and take extreme measures to gain career status.
Exactly.
But in an
Perfectly
egalitarian
said.
society, it's about having that choice to make that decision. And
Yes,
that's what feminism
but we
is about.
do,
It's
but
about
we already
having-
have that choice.
We
If-
do have
if
that
I want to go
But
own
it's
my own
being-
company, I
it's being
can.
restricted.
Like I said in the beginning, we've all agreed that the beginning of feminism was going in the right
Humanizing
direction.
women,
It
right.
was humanizing women. It was making them equal to men. It was giving us the same opportunities so that we can go vote, so that I can go get a job, so that I can drive a car. Like
She can
there's
run for
other
president if
countries
she wants.
that I know that we weren't talking about other countries, but if you want to talk about feminism, go protect the women who get beat up for driving a car in other countries.
Men are falling behind in society.
Fellas, it's time to take care of down there.
I guess I have let my bottom half go.
Use Manscaped's Lawnmower 4.0.
Who doesn't like to get this smooth?
The only tool with the performance and precision you need.
In your sensitive areas.
This trimmer features skin-safe technology to help reduce the risk of nick and cuts when it comes to trimming privates. And because it's waterproof, you can trim the field, rain or shine.
So you can have a smooth and comfortable grooming experience.
I just think, I mean, we have amazing men here today. It's an honor
thank
to
you.
be on this
You
panel
barely
with
know
you
me.
to see this masculine energy. However, I know that men are not able to be men anymore because of the feminist, modern feminist propaganda. I coach men in my practice and they tell me like, I don't even know what I can do on a date anymore. Can I ask a woman out? Am I gonna get in trouble for this now? Like, I really like her. I kind of want to put my hand around her waist, but maybe that's gonna, you know, I'm gonna be all over social media, this kind of thing. And I think men don't have the balls anymore to just stand up and be a man, be dangerous, be fierce.
I want to respond to a lot of what you said.
Please.
Does anybody else want?
You make a really interesting point. However, I feel like a lot of the reasons why men can't actively express masculinity in a positive way is because of the patriarchal structures that we have. Part of where I'm coming from with this is I'm trans. So I was born female, now I present as male. I came out socially and medically transitioned at 18.
Okay.
The feminist movement is what helped me feel empowered enough to be who I am and be a man.
And no disrespect to your process, I know it's a very strenuous thing that you go through, but I see a woman still. I feel feminine energy from you.
That's all right. I
And
totally
so when you
respect
say
that.
you're a man, then it's like, I don't see that.
The way I think about it is more like about individual choice and individual freedom. And if I want to say that I have feminine energy and people view me as masculine or vice versa, then that's their problem, that's not my problem. And for me, that's what feminism is about giving people the choice to act in accordance with however the hell they want to.
But that's a
not
very
how
dangerous
feminism
society.
started. That's
to
not how
say.
feminism started, though. Yeah, we went from, you know, wanting equal rights for women and equality for women, and now it's
Humanizing
kind of
women, right.
humanizing women,
Yes.
making it to where I think we all agree, you know, women now are equal to men, and with like third and fourth wave feminism, especially fourth wave feminism, it's kind of turned into individuality, like you said.
It doesn't take a man to tell me how to be a man. It doesn't take a woman either. I can define myself as a man how I want to. I don't need somebody like Andrew Tate to be like, you're not a man unless you do this. I also don't need a woman to come up and be like, you're not a real man if you don't do this. And it's the same with femininity. I'm not gonna tell you how to be a woman. I don't think another woman should tell you how to be a woman either.
So what would you tell kids?
Yeah, like he has this, you have a daughter. Do
Yeah.
you really want to be guided by the ambiguous, define yourself as however you want to define yourself. And for her mind to be molded and shaped by men who, no disrespect, women who turn themselves into men and then turn themselves back and say there's a lot of dissatisfaction when the root of the problem wasn't the gender, it was everything else.
There's actually
Let's slow down, though.
very
I
low
feel like
I looked at the
of
percentages.
detransitioning, but that's
I looked at
neither here nor there.
percentages.
That's also a minority of the population.
Feels like you're bundling a lot of ideas, which makes it hard to respond. But
Well, because there's so much data to support
can you repeat
these.
what's the main question?
Do you
me to
want your
answer?
daughter's mind to be formed and shaped by a society that tells her it's okay to be masculine and to be a man, and that she
Totally.
doesn't need a man, and that it's better off for her to be alone and put her career first and not have children?
I think it's more likely than not that she'll probably follow a more conventional path. If my daughter grows up and she wants to dress like a boy, like great. If she, for whatever reason, is experiencing gender dysphoria, like we would navigate that together. But that, to me, it doesn't scare me. And I would all the more want to live in a world that...
I feel like that's sad because
Why,
it's
though?
because my son, I encourage him. I say, you are to be, and I really don't care the backlash. You're supposed to be attracted to women. And
Isn't
I
that
tell
a lot
him,
of pressure?
and I tell no, and I ask him,
But what
who
if
are
he's not?
Because life for transgender individuals, and my son's African American as well, is very freaking hard. I don't know if we can swear. I'm sorry.
You can.
It's very hard. Do you know this to be true?
Asking people or putting pressure on your son or putting pressure
don't
on my daughter
pressure.
to not...
I just tell him.
Okay, but to not be their true self, if that's truly how they feel,
But that's not
feels
their
like
true
that
self.
would
No,
be...
it's- they're not their true
that's
self.
This like
Thank you.
that's this way. It's
Thank you.
society has influenced everybody to
correct.
be
We are
like,
so off
you know.
problem.
When you say I can
I feel-
identify, I can be whatever I want. If I want to say, I'm Beyonce today, I can now just be Beyonce.
But do you
right?
actually believe that?
But I do. I kind of
But
feel
like,
like
I don't think you
Can we
believe
talk
it.
about
You
the prompt?
genuinely
Yeah,
believe it.
let's roll back.
The prompt's about men falling behind.
Here's the other thing. Men are falling behind. Is it because of feminism, or is there socioeconomic factors that we're not looking at?
Well, how do we
because,
define
well,
falling
no.
behind?
Let's
Yeah,
look,
what do you see as falling
What's
behind?
falling behind? So people in America, not just men, everybody is getting poor. This has nothing to do with
Well, that's
feminism.
not true.
No,
that's a mental state.
No,
That's
not
a
true.
mentality.
This is economic data. We're
I'm
falling
not getting
behind
that.
our
Well, you
standard.
can blame your president for that.
Okay,
And
back
the other
to the
thing
prompt.
is, what do you define as masculinity? It can be subjective
Tell
from
us,
culture to culture.
what do you define
I
masculinity
think masculinity is whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be this objective thing where it's like, oh, you're masculine, you're
How
not.
is
Like,
it, can it,
so it could be different from our society to another society. And actually, in some countries, like men who don't provide for their families or are not the sole provider are not seen
but
as
are we
masculine.
talking about other countries or are we talking about the U.S.?
But even
right
here,
now?
actually, even here, there are people who will say that's demasculating for a man to make less money than his wife.
I appreciate everything everyone's saying. I do want to talk about the prompt. When I heard the prompt and I heard that, I thought about men falling behind, I thought more like mental health, like suicide is more common with men.
We're going to go here.
No,
Love
but it's
this one.
true. Like men
But it's such
commit
a
suicide at
it's not
higher
a cop
rates.
out. Like I'm not saying mental health isn't an issue. That it is an issue, and obviously a lot of men are experiencing a lot of pressure.
Have you heard like the term death of despair?
Men are committing suicide more. Men are
Right.
dying from alcohol-related illnesses more, and they're also dying from drug abuse and drug overdose more.
Correct.
And that's an increasing trend in society.
Yeah.
And then you
That's
see
true.
educational gaps.
No, there's no denying that. Like young men are abandoning colleges at a rapid
Yeah, it's a
rate.
lot of pressure to be a man.
They're also
Like,
far
they're-
lonelier than women are right now. And
Yeah,
lots
women
of
are the
murders.
Hold on,
least
hold on. Can I
obvious.
finish my point? Sorry. I'm like, don't let me lose my train of thought. They're abandoning colleges. Women make up, they enroll in college at a 60% rate. Women are earning more than men nowadays, right? So,
I
yeah,
don't agree with
no,
that.
that is
Not
true.
statistically.
We can get to the wage gap.
It's about enrollment. So are they having other jobs? Yeah, probably. But I'm saying like men are not going to these institutions. Why?
When you're saying lack of enrollment, there's more entrepreneurials in the entrepreneurial space than ever before in history. So I believe a lot of people are opting out of college as we had to pursue their ventures. So that could be part of the reason why the enrollment has declined.
Can I just go back to a point that you said really quick?
Yeah,
where
go
you
ahead.
talked about
Yeah.
like the mental health of men and how
Me?
the
Yeah.
stigmatization of men addressing their mental health.
Yeah.
What system are we in that
Sure.
makes it so that men have this big stigma around our mental health where we can't
Yeah.
talk about it and the suicide rate goes
So
up?
I'll
We
tell-
are in a patriarchal system.
No, hold on, let me
That
tell you,
is
let me
the-
tell you.
Those
So
are
the
those are the
way-
bounds we are within currently.
There's a
That's
lot
toxic
Can I have
masculinity.
Mason complete his point? I'll encourage you to let the other person finish the point, and then, of course, you can take it forward, but let them talk.
Just
The
real
same
quick,
thing.
the systemic structures we are in
Yes.
are patriarchy. That is what has caused men to have this massive stigma around mental health,
Sure.
where we don't feel empowered to reach out. Men tend to not go to therapy. That leads to suicide, that leads to all of these big things. That's not caused by feminism. That was happening well before the
So,
feminist movement
hold on.
came into these
Let
new
him
waves.
finish. There's a lot of psychiatrists, psychologists, and economists, professors, all these people coming out saying that the actual psychology department is feminized. I know.
No,
it's,
I'm processing what you're saying.
The
It's
psychology
weird, but the
department?
way that everything's processed is for women. So women and men process information differently. Men are like this in their brain. Women are. It's all over. And like, what the hell does that mean?
Well, it's
It
left
means
brain, right
that
brain
When you
usage.
I wish it was
process
that
like
simple.
men need to solve the problem
Correct.
before they can process the emotion.
Women are
Women
emotional.
react
My
on
wing
emotion.
woman.
all
Yeah,
the
that's
time.
it.
But so women have a tendency, not a tendency, they do better with talk therapy. That doesn't always work for men. Men do better when they are kind of working with a coach or somebody that's going to be like, this is what you have to do, and then come
Like
back
massive
see how you
action
did.
That's why mentors
So-
work. That's why men need.
He had a thought though. Can we let him finish his
So,
thought?
the same problems with the military, a lot of the suicide rate, even though there is therapy services, they're actually actively discouraged. And it's because of this masculine energy in the military, because it is still, even to this day, a very ultra-masculine institution. And there's these negative energies saying like, hey, no, you shouldn't like go talk. That's what these fucking do.
But that's
But-
toxic
Well, it's
masculinity.
interesting
Yes,
that-
but it
That's
comes
not
from
patriarchy.
it comes from a
There's
place
a
of
difference.
no, it comes from a place where it's like, oh, that's not what men do. Just suck it up and push on, and that's why a lot of these guys end up killing themselves.
But what branch were you in? Can I ask?
I was in the army. I
Okay.
was,
So you're an athlete, correct? And
Yes.
in the military, what is in the military that makes everything work within the military? It's a structure, right?
yes, it's a structure.
It's a system, right? Who runs the military? Who is at the very top of the command?
Oh, the commander-in-chief, the
Correct.
president of the United States. Couple hundred years,
But I'm making a point here. So there's one person at the very top. Even if you take the commander-in-chief away, there's your general, right? Then there's lieutenant general, there's corporal, and I forget the, don't hate me, there's all those privates, et cetera. There's a system. One person is at the top of that system, and he has supporting members underneath him, all the way down to private. And that's what patriarchy was, quote, patriarchy was designed. It's a system of one person taking a leadership position, and they make decisions for the greater good, utilitarianism of all, meaning the family unit.
That's not really what
That-
patriarchy
And
means.
actually, that's
It
that's
is.
a
I
very-
looked
that's-
up the definition, actually.
That's actually a very
I
ideal
literally
one.
looked it up yesterday.
I feel.
No, you're good.
I really need the male feminists also to respond because I feel like they've spoken 20%. Once they're done with their thought, feel free to interrupt, but let them finish a sentence.
Okay, I want to talk. I'm going to talk. I mean, I do think men are falling behind. I feel like the world is just changing in a way where men don't have like a natural place to fit in, or it's not as intuitive as it used to be. And I think men are alone. I heard you throw out the word loneliness, and that does feel true. I just don't think that feminism did that. I just think like the world is changing.
What you said really resonated with me when we define falling behind. What I think about with men is that high suicide rate, that likeliness and proclivity towards violence and aggression. I think about loneliness and not being in relationships with which young men are struggling with a lot right now. And where I feel finding common ground and feminism does get right in a sense is that we should expand our horizons as far as how we view masculinity. Men should be able to cry, they should be able to be vulnerable, and that's something that we need to access. But also, these men who are feeling disillusioned with the world right now, they are seeking out male figures. We've seen, you know, the rise of the Jordan Petersons or some of the personalities at the Daily Wire or the Andrew Tates. They are seeking out somebody who's telling them, I want you to access those masculine traits and harness them in a way. I would say Jordan Peterson's probably a more healthy role model for men than, say, an Andrew Tate, but men are going towards these more aggressive, masculinized traits and seeking out men that are trying to harness that for them.
Yeah.
I thought you made a really great point that I totally agree with, where men are looking for these role models of how to embody masculinity because we are falling behind and a lot of people don't know how to act. What's really important and what I've seen, at least in my experience, like feminism bring up is the idea of like Justin Baldoni doing his talk about being man enough for your woman, being man enough to be emotional, being man enough to support children. That's the type of manliness and masculinity I think needs to be embodied so that men can catch up and feel like there's a place for them. That's something that we need to focus on, is making sure that people know how to embody masculinity in a way that's going to be beneficial for everyone.
Women should also be drafted into the military.
Let's do it.
If you're gonna vote, you might as well be drafted, baby. That's it.
Yeah, I believe rights come with responsibilities, and we are all responsible individuals. Granted, I'm glad we live in a society where we haven't had the draft since, like, I think Vietnam. Vietnam, I think Vietnam.
50 years ago.
I do think that maybe like we should relook at the draft and as other options, not just military service. So I was in the active duty military, and I was also in the National Guard, and I've fought wildfires, and like I've done crowd control, I've done a lot of other things. If you want the same rights, you have to have the same responsibilities, and I think that's just universal based on what you can do and your abilities.
This was a very difficult one for me to parse through because I remember when I was getting my birth certificate changed, and it was like, all right, time to register for selective service, and I was like, oh God, I have to make this decision now to register.
You don't have a choice.
I know. So I was like, all right, cool. Like I will go through with finishing all this legal stuff up and register. And I think, like you said, there's lots of other responsibilities that men and women of different abilities and different strengths could fulfill within selective service if we needed it.
If you shop with the Walmart app, you know everything you need. It's right at your fingertips. So you can spend a little less, to get a little more, to make life a little better.
Drafted, correct me if I'm wrong, would be going into war, would be physically going and doing
Not
the
necessarily.
actual combat.
A lot of the draftees in Vietnam didn't go see combat. They did supportive roles.
Okay.
It's selective service, so you register to be potentially needed to call for multiple different responsibilities.
But some of them are going.
Right, right.
Some
So
of them, there was some bad cases.
the part that I would disagree with would be putting women on the front lines. We are physically capable to do a lot. You know, there's different boundaries for women who go into the military, who have to do boot camp, than there are for men. We can work women as hard as they can, but they're not going to work as hard as men are.
I actually got accepted into the Air Force, which would have been like very nice because I would have had a little desk job. But unfortunately, I was waiting for a job, so I went into Army. So I went through boot camp, and it was hell, and it really messed my back up even more than it already was. Our rationale skills and our logical thinking is not conducive to be able to be on the front grounds, to be able to make, oh my gosh, if I step here, this is gonna blow up, can I, like, we just think too emotionally. And that's why when we talked about leadership, it's the same thing. Being in those positions where like split-second decision could make or break, I don't think women have it in them to do that. And I don't think it's fair to men to be, I wouldn't, if I was a man, I wouldn't want to be next to a woman and want to be carried out if I needed to be, if my life was depending on it.
I think it seems like a lot of the same discussions keep happening with these prompts, which is back and forth of how much is it nature, how much is it nurture, how much are there like intrinsic biological differences between men and women, and how much does that dictate our behavior and our physiology, our biology, versus how much of that is through social learning. So how much it's our culture in terms of,
Societal
let's say like
programming
on a
versus-
scale of 1 to 10, how high is your sex drive?
Very high. I'm a sex coach.
I'm not asking
Oh,
you
I
personally.
thought you were. I'm like, I'm a sex.
So I wasn't asking you.
Sorry.
personally. If you ask everyone that,
Yeah.
You'll see on average differences between men and women. And because of that, I don't think we should dictate whether or not someone is drafted into the military. Because ultimately, I think individuals should have the freedom to make certain choices.
It's a draft, though.
Sure.
And
yes.
they can go in if they want.
It's
That's
a draft,
the military.
and what you're saying, you don't think people should be treated differently because there can
Exactly.
be metrics
It's
that fall outside
differential
of the data.
treatment. That's
Of
what I'm
course,
getting
yeah.
at.
So there is differential treatment, but I would say that it's completely reasonable to do that because not only are we focusing on the differential treatment, but we're focusing on outcome. So if I'm expecting somebody to go into combat, which is the reason I didn't walk forward, you should also expect that person on an individual basis to be able to meet the exact same standard as every other man that they are going to be fighting with.
So the
Now-
military has made a change on that, by the way.
Yes,
they
they
have a
have.
new individual test that's based on what jobs you're going to do. If you're doing more combat
Sure.
roles, yes, you have to be stronger and tougher, and there are women meeting those standards. That's
Yes.
why
Yes,
things
I
are
agree.
changing, and like I said, I'm not for the draft at all, really. I think it's
Agreed.
a really bad thing, but if
Yeah.
it was to happen, like, it should be across all boards, everybody gets treated equal.
If I could choose the possibility of women being drafted or not, I would choose that they're not. Well, I don't want
saying
my
anyone.
daughter to be drafted.
I think if you draft, at least account for the differences, please.
Female sex workers should be more respected.
I don't know a ton about this topic, but I do think I subscribe to the idea that legitimizing sex work reduces the safety risks associated with that profession. It's a very old profession. It's been around for a while.
It's going to continue to be around.
I think it's also, there's tools out there like OnlyFans that I think has put a lot of the power in the hands of the creators.
A lot of people don't realize, like, nobody like actively chooses to be in sex work. You're usually going to sex work because of social situations, and if it's a black market, most people ask why I joined the military. It's like, because I was poor. Like, there was no other fucking reason. And I'm not saying it would get rid of exploitation, but if women have legal protections, like if I was a prostitute and I could go up to a cop and say, hey, I got beat up and my money stolen, not being worried about being arrested, like, I would be more likely to report crimes and get the people who are causing problems.
Yeah, and then for the people who just want to do it and want to just like own their sexuality, own their body, and use it as a commodity, a way to make money, they should be able to do that in a way that is safe, in a way that they own all of the videos, all of the content that they make, and in a way that is equitable for them.
When it comes to respect, there's two definitions. Respect either can mean like politeness, like you wouldn't shut the door on somebody that's like walking behind you, like be respectful. The other respect is usually if you do something that in the workplace that garners approval, you've completed a goal. So when we talk about respect when it comes to sex workers, should we be polite to them? Probably. That would be a human thing to do. I don't have to, but yeah. I prefer OnlyFans over the
Yeah.
traditional porn industry.
Yeah, because you own it, and then it's
women
a lot
got
more protected.
sex trafficked.
But that agency is important to
I
know
think
that it's
so,
what
yeah.
you own, and to have that respect put onto you that like this is your content you're putting out into the world.
Yeah, now it's their copyrighted material. Before, when it was the old porn industry, they didn't have rights to those videos, and that's a huge thing. Like if I want to take my stuff down, you have to go to a court with a copyright case, and it just.
That's what happened with Mia Khalifa. That was her
Yeah.
whole thing, and luckily now she has a very successful career doing like sports commentating and stuff. But unfortunately, that's not the rule. That's the exception, where she's been able to be successful.
But it's a role model.
Right off the bat, you said Mia Khalifa went from being a porn star to being a sports commentator. That is something that we should be directing women towards. It shouldn't be, okay, well, she's gonna go do an OnlyFans or she's gonna be in 50 porn videos to get paid. When we're encouraging women to go out of their way to sell their bodies on the internet because that's a means to an end, we're not doing that the right way, and I don't think the feminist movement should be moving in the
Anti-feminist?
direction
Yeah,
of
I wasn't really listening
normalizing
to this. I had to go
sex
to
work,
something
when
real quick.
We should be encouraging women to value themselves, value their body, value their talent, and take that elsewhere.
There's a lot of things in place, though, for women. Like, yeah, there's obviously a need if they're in maybe a lower economic class or something, but at the end of the day...
Yeah, I didn't even listen to most of it. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Not going to lie. Was not listening. Was not here for it. Was not here for it. La gra, keep it as that. Bitches and walkers in, I got bands. Oh, I love this pic. Oh, of me? Hold on, this? Ooh. Yeah, I took that in 2021 in front of the cherry blossoms by my job. Me and my friend are working on something called the color series, where I take pictures in different colors. And this was the pink. Hold on, let me see if I can find this real quick on Instagram so I can show you what the rest of the palette looked like. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, boo, tomato. Yeah, hold on. Let me move this over real quick. There you go. You see? This was that spread. This was supposed to be like kind of purple and pink. And this from when I went to a brunch. LOL. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I got a little model in me when I'm a little bit skinnier. Oh man, this was a really nice picture too. People fucked with it. Cherry Blossom Boy. The last photo is genuine happiness. But yeah, my first pick is tough. Everybody loved these pictures. We did our thing. It literally, we had an hour on lunch and we was like, yo, let's take pictures. I bought this shirt. Literally, I went next door to American Eagle and just bought the shirt. I was like, let's do this. And come on. They're not fucking with the material. I'm fucking stupid. Mass was in the gym last night. My legs are dead. So I do my little workout every morning when I get up now. It's not much. I do 50 jumping jacks and then do 10 push-ups, and that's it. To get myself like back in the swing of like being physically active again. But yeah.
Epidemic Sound is basically a royalty-free soundtrack company. So it's where I go to when I want to get my backing tracks for my YouTube videos. Pick.
But I'm gonna have my own music playing for myself. Whenever you're ready, you could join any of the VCs. keep that going for chat and then listen to my music. Finisher. No, I got pins. We got a lot to do today, Gav. We got a lot to do. I know who I am.
Hey, nice to meet you. The name's Max. Maxwell Smalls.
Alright, let me go brush my teeth. Be back. Like, keep it a step. Bitches walk cause they know I got pins. Oh, hold on. I have to stop and restart stream. Wait, did I not change all of that? Like, oh, be right back.